Hello, Facebook Live. This is Dr. Sandra. I hope you vision building women are having a fabulous, fabulous Sunday and are ready for Impact Academy. So, welcome. It is about 2 minutes till 9. I like to get on a little bit early so that we can get on early to give you time to come on in so that we can start promptly at 9. I see people are jumping on right now. I'm just going to check on my big computer. Actually, you know what? I can check on this computer right here to see how's it looking in terms of people coming on. And I'm really excited about tonight. It is going to be awesome. Let me tell you, I'm getting ready to tell you guys something that will not only help you, but also as you go and you guide and you help others, okay? So give me a few minutes. We're going to get started in about 2 minutes. Remember, we've got the phone line going and we have the Facebook Live. So we're in 2 places. All right, we've got the phone line going and Facebook Live. So if you know people that are not on Facebook and they want to be on the phone line, give them the number. The number is right there in Facebook, in your Facebook group. So again, this is Dr. Sandra. Welcome, everybody. I'm looking forward to being with everyone tonight. This is going to be an exciting night. I know it's a holiday weekend, but there's a reason why I wanted to come on tonight. And I'll tell you in just a few. There's a reason why I wanted to come on tonight, and I'll tell you in just a few, okay? So if you're listening to this on the replay, as always, make sure you get paper and pencil and get ready to take notes. I know a lot of you are away for the holiday, but you still do not want to miss this one. You still do not want to miss this one. It will be short. I promise you it will be short tonight. The big reason why is because I have 4 15-year-olds in my house tonight sleeping over as we are taking a trip tomorrow. And so all 4 of them are in the house and because we're leaving pretty early in the morning. So again, welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in, come on in. And I'm thankful that you guys are coming in. And so give me about 2 more minutes. We'll get started right at 9:02. Okay, and so we will get started. If you don't have pencil and paper, make sure you have pencil and paper to take notes on tonight because we will definitely want to write some things down. All right, let me see who's in here. I see Carol. I see Lisa. Welcome, welcome. And there are some other people who are on here that I'm finding out that are not using their phone or the app. So they're not considered live viewers. They're considered viewers, but if you're watching it via your computer, then it's not the same thing. All right, it's not the same thing. So, and I didn't realize that. So now I'm beginning to understand, just how this Facebook Live works in terms of how people view. Because I get a whole lot more viewers. There are a lot more people viewing live than actually shows up on the screen. And I'm learning that if it's on the phone, you can see people. If it's on the computer, then you can't. You don't know they're live. Well, we're going to get started in 1 more minute. Give us 60 more seconds. We're going to get started with tonight's session, which is, what do you need for the next chapter in your life, your business, your ministry, or your career? What does your next chapter look like? So welcome, everybody. This is Dr. Sandra. I'm excited to be with you on tonight for Impact Academy. This is going to be, for some of you, this is going to be a challenge. This is going to be a challenge. And I tell you what, it's exciting. And you know what? I just heard a basketball roll down the steps, y'all. I heard a big ball just roll down the steps. That's okay. That's what happens when you have a bunch of young men in your house and they're excited and ready to go to basketball camp tomorrow. All right, all right. So I think people are actually on the line also. Yes, I see people actually calling in on the phone line. For those of you that are on the phone line, welcome, welcome. If you're on the phone line, could you just say hello so I can tell me whether or not how well you can hear me? Just let me make sure. Let me test that out for just a second. If you're on the phone line, could you just say hello and let me know whether or not you can hear me okay?
Hello, and I'm having a bit of a hard time hearing you.
You having a hard time hearing me? Okay. What I'm going to do then, while people are still calling in, I am going to put in earphones, okay? Okay, so for the people on the phone, is that better? Okay, great, great. Okay, all right. All right, so it's 9:03, so let's get started. Welcome, everybody. This is Dr. Sandra Wall-Williams, and I want to welcome you to Impact Academy. Impact Academy is where women who are ready for their greater come here to get prepared for the greater that God has for them. And so on tonight, our topic is, what do you need for the next chapter in your life, your ministry, your business, or your career? And as always, I have my notes, and they're spread across 2 pages tonight. I have my notes, and so I want you to take notes on tonight also. Anytime you come to Impact Academy, always take notes. So just so that you'll know, if you're watching this via Facebook Live, remember that there is a live phone line, an open phone line also. So we have people on the phone, all right, because we wanted to open this up for people who may or may not be on Facebook. So we have people on the phone, and we have people here on Facebook Live. If you're watching this on the replay, thank you so much for watching us on the replay and for joining us on tonight. So again, tonight's topic is, what do you need for the next chapter in your life, your ministry, your business, or your career? Now, let me tell you how this topic actually came about. This past weekend, I spoke at a luncheon for a golf tournament that was here. I actually spoke at a luncheon for a golf tournament that was here. I kind of hurt my elbow there. Spoke at a luncheon for a golf tournament that was here, okay, in the Raleigh area. And so when I spoke at the luncheon, there was another young lady who spoke also, and she just had a birthday. Now, for all of you that know me, you know that tomorrow is what? It's my birthday. It's my birthday. July 3rd is my birthday, and that's tomorrow. Okay, so her birthday was, the young lady I was talking to, her birthday was actually the week before. And this is what she said. She said that she is getting ready to go into chapter 43. And I said, chapter 43, what does that mean? And she said, because she turned 43 years old, now she is in chapter 43 of her life. Now, some of you may have heard that before, but I never heard that before. But it just resonated with me. Oh, I just love that. I love it. I love it. So on tomorrow, I am going into chapter 54 of my life. I'm going into chapter 54 of my life. I'll make sure everybody hears that. Going into chapter 54 of my life. And as you all get ready for your birthday, if it hasn't already passed, I want you to say, what year are you getting ready to go into a new chapter? Now, here's my challenge for everyone. Here is my challenge. And I've got my computer down here. Y'all know I love my pink cover computer, okay? I've got my computer down here. So I'm looking at both the phone line, because I can see people on the phone, and I can see you here on Facebook Live. So I want to challenge you, okay? Some of you are going on your chapter 55 on July 16th. Thank you. Happy chapter 54. I love that. I love it. I love it. So I didn't come up with the whole chapter thing myself, all right? But what resonated with me is that I am getting ready to start a new year. Now, most of the time, we always start new things when it comes along with a new year. All right. Usually January 1st. We're always saying we're going to start something new and start this on January 1st. Well, here is what I want to challenge you with on this year. And now, if your birthday's already passed, then you can just start, you can celebrate with me and start a new chapter on my birthday, and then start another new chapter when your birthday comes along next year, if your birthday's already passed, okay? So, but what I want to do this year is for you to ask yourself, what will be the guidelines of the things that will govern how you look at life in this new chapter? How you look at life, how you look at your ministry, how you look at your business, how you look at whatever it is, your calling, your career. What is that going to look like? How are you going to look at it? Look at your new chapter moving forward. So let me say that one more time. How are you going to look at your new chapter moving forward? And you know, it really dawned on me. I said, you know what? I am going into a new chapter. I've never been 54 before. Okay. Never been 54 before. I was born at I think my mother said 308 or 5 or something like that in the morning on July 3rd. So it's coming up in a few hours. All right. And so this new chapter means that I'm going to begin to do some things new, or I'm going to begin to expand what I already think about my business, my career, my calling, the ministry, my life, everything. And then I just began to ask myself, so what kinds of principles or what kinds of things are going to govern my thoughts and my actions as I move forward in this year, as I go into and live out chapter 54. So here's the challenge I have for you. Now, I've got to give you this challenge before I go on so you understand what's coming up next. So here's the challenge that I have for you is I want you to begin to tell yourself what kinds of principles, what kinds of strategies will govern your next chapter. Okay. And again, if you're born on January 1st, that's great. But I don't want you to wait until January 1st to do this. If your birthday is already passed, then do it with me tomorrow. Okay. Or at least sometime this week. Pick a date this week. Pick July 4th or something. Then when your birthday comes, you can do this exercise again. But this is very, very important because over the year, between tomorrow and a year ago, we have learned so much. We've all heard so many sermons. We've all read so many books. I have read so many books this year. We've all read so many books. We've had so many sermons. Some of you have been in Impact Academy since we started. But what are the principles and the strategies that will govern your next chapter? Okay. Now, keep in mind that when I say next chapter, all right, next chapter means life, calling, career, business, ministry. I'll just use the word next chapter and know that it encompasses all of that. Okay. So Lisa says, we'll use your birthday this year. Yay, he's up here. But Lisa, your birthday is right behind mine. Okay. And for those of you that are on the phone, keep in mind, I can see comments of people that are talking to me on Facebook. Okay. So keep in mind, my question for you is, what will be the principles, the strategies that govern your next chapter? And when I say chapter, I'm talking about business, ministry, calling, career, your life, whatever it is, your ministry, whatever it is, whatever your next chapter is, what will be the principles that will govern it? Okay. And the reason I tell you this is because we hear so much. You listen to stuff on YouTube. I know I do. I listen to sermon after sermon after sermon. I read book after book. I'm trying to find the book that I'm reading. I don't see it. It's about the anointing. I don't see it. Oh, here it is. The book I'm reading right now is, I just started this one. It's called You Are Anointed for This. Okay, it's called You Are Anointed for This by Judy Jacobs. And I've only read a little bit of it, but it is so fabulous. And there's so much in there. I'm doing a financial fitness course. This is something I'm doing, a course that I'm getting ready to open up for women in ministry to be financially fit so they can do the ministry that God has called for them. Okay, so there's so much we learn and we get so much of it. But do we ever decide what are we going to use and what are we going to do to govern the next chapter of our life? Now keep in mind, the next chapter is your next year. All right. My next chapter starts tomorrow because that's my birthday. All right. My next chapter starts tomorrow because that's my birthday. So now, or next tomorrow will be my birthday. Now, so I'm going to give you my 4 actions and strategies. Now, these will help you. I'm telling you, these are going to help you. And the reason I'm giving you these is so that you will know the kinds of things that you need to put down to govern your next chapter as you move into the next chapter for you. Okay, as you move into, I saw some of you had chapter 54. I think I saw somebody with the chapter 41. So as you move into chapter 41, or the next chapter, chapter 54, whatever your next chapter is, all right, then I want to ask you, all right, what will be the principles and the strategies that guide you in the next year? That's all I'm asking. And I'm asking you to take these, write them in a book, all right, write them in a book. Those of you that are in the inner circle, all right, you have your 2017 book, Okay, those of you that are in the inner circle, you had to make that. Those of you that were in Vision Quick Start, we're getting ready to go into the second round of Vision Quick Start and the second round of the inner circle. So you all will be doing that. That's the first thing you're going to be doing this year. Okay, what are going to be those principles that govern you? Now, sometimes people may call these your core values. All right, I'm not going to get into a teaching on core values tonight because primarily it just takes too long. Okay, now we're going to do that in some courses that I have coming up. So make sure you keep that in mind. But tonight, I'm just going to give you the 4 actions or principles. You can call them what you want. Principles, actions, strategies. I'm going to give you 4 of them that will govern my life in chapter or govern my next chapter. I don't want to just say life because I'm also going to use these in ministry, in my calling, in my career, in my business. I'm going to use them everywhere. Okay, so now I'm going to give you my 4. And we're not. I'm telling you, we're not going to be on here long tonight, and I mean it tonight. Like I said, I've got 4 kids in here, and I got to go over some rules of camp with them. Okay, when your kids are 15, you have to go over some rules of camp. They're getting ready to go to South Carolina for a whole week, and at a Division I basketball camp, and so they're excited, and I just want to make sure they understand the rules. You mamas know how that is. So I'm going to do that tonight before they go to bed. So here is my first one. Here's my first one. All right. So as I go into the next chapter, as I go into chapter 54, these are the 4 strategies that I will be using to govern the next chapter of my life. Okay. These are 4 things that I've learned in chapter 53. 4 things that because of some things that have happened to me, I had to put into practice, all right, in chapter 54. So chapter 53 taught me these principles that I'm getting ready to go into chapter 54 already knowing. So if you're with me, if you understand what I'm saying, I hope this is resonating with you, because one thing I've learned is that you get so much information that at some point in time, you've got to decide that you're going to do something with the information. You get so much, but when are you going to decide what you're going to take out and then actually apply? Okay, because you can't apply everything you get. Some stuff is good, all right, but you can't apply everything you get. So that's what we want to talk about on tonight. Okay, so here's my first one. Number 1, as I go into chapter 54, I am going to ignore the chatter of the naysayers. I'm going to ignore the chatter of the naysayers. And you might ask, you might say, well, Dr. Sandra, that's easy enough to do. Well, let me tell you, no, it's not easy enough to do. Ignoring chatter of naysayers is not always easy to do because so many times we seek approval from people. And whenever we seek approval from people and people are talking about us, no one wants to be talked about. Okay? No one wants to be talked about. Okay, no one does. No one wants to have what it is that God has given them. No one wants to have their vision or their ministry or where they're going back to school or the book that they're writing or the vision that nobody wants that talked about. But here is one thing that I learned in chapter 53 that I'm putting into practice in chapter 54. And all of these build on each other. Okay, all 4 of these I'm getting ready to build on each other. So now you can kind of see what I'm talking about when I say the principles that will guide me in chapter 54. Now what I need for you to do is get your own principles. These are mine. These are mine. And you can take mine, that's fine. Or you can come up with your own, that's great too. But I want you to have some principles going into the next chapter in your life, ministry, calling, career, or business. Okay? So my first one is I'm going to ignore the chatter of the naysayers. So many things happen to me in chapter 53. And as I look back, and I look back in my journal, and I reflected on a whole bunch of things that I looked in my journal, that I saw a lot of what was happening to me was because of people talking. Because of people running their mouth, all right, and either not liking what I was doing, okay, or either was upset because they weren't a part of it. But either way, what I found was that there were naysayers out there. See, one of the things that you have to realize is that whenever you go into a next chapter, I'm getting excited now. You can tell that, right? When I stutter when I get excited. Whenever you go into a next chapter, then there will be naysayers. Now, here's something I need for you to remember about the next chapter. Now, think about a book. Where's the book I had? Think about a book. All right. I'll go back to this book right here. This is my favorite book of chapter 53. Clutter Free was my favorite book of chapter 53. All right. So anytime you go into a book and you finish, and I'm rereading here. This is a chapter that I've been stuck on for a while. Anytime you go into a book and you read a chapter, and then when you get to the end of that chapter and you get ready to start the next chapter, there is always a title of the chapter. Every chapter has a title. So see, whenever you get ready to go into something new, God has already given you what it is. But there are always going to be people that would want to take the writing that God has already imprinted on you, meaning what he's already given you, and they'll want to mark it up and change it based on what they think you should be doing, or based on what they think what you should do should be looking like. Well, here, or they even say, or maybe come to you and even ask you, why are you doing something like that? Okay? Why are you doing that? All right? Now, here's the thing that I want you to remember. When you understand that chatter, okay? I didn't say talk of naysayers. All right. I said chatter of naysayers, because chatter is a specific kind of talking. Look it up. Okay. Chatter means that people are usually talking a lot, but not saying anything that can benefit you. Get that. Okay. Get that. That's why I use the word chatter instead of talking. You see, when people talk, they may be saying something that you might want to listen to. But when people are chattering, it is not going to benefit you whatsoever. So the first thing in my chapter 54 is that as I leave chapter 53, as I turn the page, all right, and I'm almost on the last page of chapter 53, okay, as I turn the page in chapter 53 and go to the next chapter in chapter 54 of my life, because I'll be 54 on tomorrow, all right, as I do that, then I am not going to listen to the chatter of people who have no idea what is going on in my life. And most importantly, they don't know where God is taking me, and they don't know what God has already given to me. Now, what I want you to get out of mine, all right? Oh, I like that, Prophetess Scarborough. She says, a sounding brass of nonsense. Oh, I like that. Okay, for those of you on the phone, a comment has come across on Facebook where she says that chatter is a sounding brass of nonsense. That's exactly what it is. Exactly what chatter is. And the majority of the time, people want to be a part of what you're doing, and when they can't, because they don't want to take the time to do what you've done, or to go through the pain of what you have done to get there, or to go through the schooling, or to go through whatever it took for you to get your next elevation. When people don't want to do that, then they begin to chatter about you. What I want you to do as you go into your next chapter, think about what yours is. But for this year, and this will help you, mine are going to help you. And I'm sure when you get yours, they're going to help me too, because I want to hear what yours are. All right. So ignore the chatter of the naysayers. Okay. Ignore the chatter of the naysayers. No longer will I let people who attempt to talk about me and to say something about me impact what God has called me to do. Now, I almost did that this year. And if you have been listening to Impact Academy, you've heard me talk about that in some of the teachings, okay? I almost did that this year. I almost let chatter take my vision to a different place. Take me to a different place that I've already been delivered from, okay? So, the first thing, as I go into chapter 54, I'm going to ignore the chatter of the naysayers. Number two, this number two is going to help you, and you need to understand number two. All of you need to understand number two. Okay. Now, number 2 and number 3 are actually something that I heard T.D. Jakes say that just, oh my goodness, it just shook my very foundation. He started with this. It was only like a 3-minute clip of what he was saying. But as he began to speak this right here that I'm giving you, as he began to speak this, vision and what God had given me became even more apparent. Now, here's the thing I want to set a stage for you, is that, y'all know that I work with women to execute and to clarify, execute, and put into action the vision that God has called them to do. Whether it is a vision for your life, a vision for your ministry, a vision for your calling, a vision for your career, a vision for your business, I help you to clarify. My coaching programs help you to do that. That's what I do. People work with me individually. People work with me in a group basis. Some people are in my courses. It just depends on what fits you best and what fits the investment that you want to make. But that's what I help people do. Now, here's the thing, is that I want everyone to know as you go into your next chapter, this one's going to help you, is that as I go into chapter 54, I am going to eat at the level of my vision. Let that one soak in for a while. I'm going to eat at the level of, my shirt keeps messing up here, y'all. I'm going to eat at the level of my vision. So what does that mean? That means for all of us that if God has given you big vision, then you might need to go someplace else so that you can get the teaching and learning that you need to execute the big vision that God has given to you. All right? I'm going to let that soak in for a minute. Let me let that soak in for a minute. Okay? Some of you, God has given big vision. Big vision. He's given you a filet mignon vision, but you are eating from a Happy Meal table. Oh, somebody write that one down in your notes, that God has given you a filet mignon vision. All right. He's giving you a vision where you need to eat at the depth of filet mignon, meaning you need to eat some meat, meaning you need to get some teaching and some learning. You need to get some coaching. You need to get some mentoring. You need to get some all kinds of, there's my friend Christine Grant. What has she got? Execute and talented teaching. That's right. You need to eat execution and talented teaching. I agree, Dr. Grant. Thank you. You always come up with those acronyms that are always on point. Okay. So some of you need to eat at a different level so that your vision can come to pass. All right. I'm going to, I'm sure she won't mind if I do this. Carol Clark is, Minister Carol Clark is here on the Facebook Live tonight. And, some of you may know this. You may have seen it in the Facebook group, Vision Building Women. And you see that Carol's book came out a couple of months ago, maybe about a month and a half ago. Now, Carol has been working on this book for quite some time. But when Carol invested in herself and started eating at a different level, then her vision came to pass. All right? When she started eating at a different level, then her vision came to pass. Here's the thing. If you continue to eat, meaning you don't go out and get things. May 12th is when your book came out. Thank you. If you continue to eat at a level that is a lower level, then your vision or whatever it is that God has placed in you is not going to go anywhere because you're feeding it the wrong type of food. Now keep in mind that when I say food, I'm talking about whether it's teaching and learning, whether it's mentoring. Some of you, your food may be that you need to go back to school. Some of your food may be that you need to go get a certificate in something for a particular job. Some of you, your food may be you need some coaching to help you through some items in your ministry. Some of you, your food may be you need some help with some issues in your life so that you can move forward with your business. That's one of the reasons why I'm offering this financial fitness. And Kimberly Wimborne also offers this, the same course. It's the same kind of course. I'm doing it specifically for women in ministry, but one of the things that I found is that a lot of women can't move forward with their vision because their finances are messed up. Okay? Now, here's a question I have for you. If you need to move forward with your vision and your finances are messed up, or you feel you need to do something, I'm not going to say messed up, but your finances need some improvement, let's put it that way, okay? Your finances need some improvement, then why in the world aren't you getting some help with it? Because if you could do it, you would have already done it. If you could make it happen, and you were going to eat at the level of your vision, then you would have already done it. Okay. Now, Christine has come up with a definition of chatter. For those of you on the phone, an acronym for chatter. I've got to give this to you. For those of you that are on the phone, she has chatter is conversations having adversarial tendencies, taking everything in reverse. Girl, you better get out of here. Chatter. Conversations having adversarial tendencies, taking everything in reverse. That's right, because chatter will move you backwards, okay? When you have, and let's go back now to the eating at the level of your vision. See, as I go into chapter 54, I'm only going to eat. What I mean by that, I'm only going to take in. I'm only going to read books. I'm only going to listen to people on the radio. I'm only going my mentoring, even the coaching and the mentoring that I pay for, okay, that has even gone up to another level this year. All right. So you know what I did? I jumped in and I got her special beforehand, because her particular coaching was for those of us that have already been working this thing for a while and we're ready to take it to another level. Because you see, when my vision got bigger, I need to eat at the level of the vision that I have. Some of you stop eating, stop taking in information that's getting you nowhere. All right. Now, I want to make sure you're clear about this right here. I'm not saying to stop listening to sermons. I'm not saying that, because sermons are great. But sometimes you get so much inspiration. Sometimes you get so much information and you get so much inspiration that you do nothing with it and you become paralyzed. All right? Make sure you get, I'm not going to get paralyzed in chapter 54. And chapter 53, I have to be honest, there was so much going on. I mean, I just had so much going on. People wanted me to do so many different things because they heard I was retired. So they wanted me to do so many different things. And some things I said yes to that maybe I shouldn't have said yes to. Some things I said no to that maybe I should have said yes to. But here is the thing. As I go into chapter 54 on tomorrow, I'm going to eat at the level of my vision, which also means that everything I do has to line up with what God has told me to do. The things the people that I'm around, the relationships that I have will feed my vision at a different level. And see, that's what I want you all to understand, is that you want more and more and more. You want your ministry to go to a new level, or you want some things in your life to go to a new level, or you desire a new level in your career. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Don't let anybody tell you that you shouldn't want more, because you should. You should want more. If you're a child of God, you should want it all. Let me tell you that right now. Every promise in God's word you should want and you should desire. And as a matter of fact, God's word says that we can have it all. He says we can do all things through him that gives us strength. He says in Matthew 6:33 to seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all these things will be added unto you. So all is a word in God's vocabulary. Okay? That means you can have more, you can have it all. Okay? And all is defined by God. That's a whole different teaching. I can't get into that right now. Okay? But what I want you to understand is that as I go into chapter 54, I'm going to eat. That means take in information, inspiration, motivation, implementation. I'm going to be taking in things at the level of the vision that God has given me. So here again is the thing. Some of you all need to stop dealing with people who don't know what they're talking about. Let me get a sip of water off that one. All right? Stop dealing with people who have no idea what they are talking about when it comes to your vision. All right? Now, some of you, there's so much information out there that when I created Vision Quick Start, what I did was I gave people a breath of everything. Now, what they're learning is that they have to go higher and higher and higher and get more information. They may have to work with me individually so we can sit down, we can go through things. But here's the thing, and even in mentoring, I had somebody last week call me and ask me, how much would you, what are your fees to charging to mentor someone individually? Okay, and I do all of that. I do all of that. But I will tell you, it is difficult when you have a vision that's here, but you only want to eat right here. It's not going to work, ladies. It's not going to work. You've got to begin to take in information, inspiration, motivation, implementation, the strategies. You've got to begin to take them in at the level of your vision. Okay? At the level that you want to go to. So here's an example. If I want to, well, I won't even use me for an example. Let me use somebody else. I won't tell you who this is. But there's a young lady that I was just talking to, having a conversation with, and she had this particular career goal. Now, I didn't know anything about the career. I really didn't know anything about the career. But I did know somebody that was in the career. I knew somebody that was in the career. I gave her specific instructions. I said, here's a person's number. She won't mind me giving you her cell number. Here's her number. What I need for you to do is to call her and you say, leave her a message, because when you call her, she's probably not going to be able to talk to you because she's busy. Okay? Leave her a message and you have to say that Dr. Sandra Williams said to call, and I want to schedule some time with you so that I can talk about a career goal, because I know that you're already doing that. Now, I gave her specific instructions on what to do. I said, because number one, if you don't say that I said to call, you're going to be one of 5 or 10 people that have called her that day that want her time. That's number one. Number two, you've got to ask for some of her time. Okay? You just can't call her out the blue and expect her to give you an hour of her time, because she can't do that. So you've got to get on the calendar. All right? That was number two. And then number three, I said, make sure you tell her that you want her to give you some career advice or talk to you about your career, because she's already in that. Well, you know what? Even with those specific instructions, the person did not do what I said. Didn't do what I said. So when she came back to me, she says, I haven't heard from her. I said, what did you say when you were on the phone? I said, that's not what I said. I said, I'm not trying to be mean, but I know this particular woman. I know her, and she's very, very productive. She's in meetings all day. She has no problem talking to you, but you got to say, well, why can't she have time to talk to me when I call her? When I call her, okay? Here's the thing. You have a vision up here, but you're still operating down here, okay? You may have a vision up here, but if you operate down here, if you operate such that you don't realize what it is when people at this level tell you what to do so you can get to this level, you need to do that. You need to eat at the level of your vision. Read books at the level of your vision. Listen to people at the level of your vision. That means that whatever your vision is, and keep in mind when I say vision, life, ministry, calling, your career, your business, whatever it is, all that is a part of vision to me. So remember that when I say vision, that's what I'm talking about. Okay. So you need to eat at the level of your vision. If you want big vision, then you need to be talking to people or putting yourself in a position such that people that are where you want to go can help you. All right. If you're still crawling around, and you know, there's a thing that talks about chickens and eagles. If your vision is at an eagle level, and you're still on the ground with chickens, chickens cannot see from the perspective of an eagle. When an eagle flies, it spreads its wings. It can get so high up in the sky that it can see from a much wider view. You think about that panoramic view that an eagle can see from. A chicken can only see a few feet in front of it. So if you have an eagle type vision, all right, if you have an eagle type vision, then you need to be feeding yourself like an eagle. An eagle, when it eats such that what it eats will give it what it needs to lift itself up and to fly and do what it needs to do. A chicken is only going to eat what's down there on the ground because that's all that they can get access to. Okay, see, an eagle sees food from a whole different, oh, this is good right here. An eagle sees food from a whole different perspective because its view of food is so large. All right, its view of the food is so large, so it can begin to take its pick about what it's going to eat. But what it does, an eagle makes sure that whatever it is it pounces upon and it eats, that it will give the eagle what it needs to give it nourishment, to take flight, and to be an eagle. All right, a chicken is only going to eat that little bit of stuff that farmers be throwing out to them on the ground. And if you notice that chickens peck in the ground or in the grass to get their food, that's all they can do because that's as far as they can go. Some of you, all right, have a vision and you can see it. You can see it like an eagle sees, but you're still eating chicken food. As I go into chapter 54, I'm going to eat at the level of my vision, of the vision that God has given me. As you go into your next chapter, if some of you are starting with me tomorrow, are y'all with me? Because y'all mighty quiet out there. I don't see any comments going through. I know the people on the phone line. I can't see any questions or anything from you. But I know the people on the phone. On the Facebook Live. I can actually see. Oh, there they go. There's some hearts coming in. All right. So as I go in to chapter 54, I am going to eat, take in, do what I need to do so that I can nourish the vision that God has given me. When he gives you big vision, then you need to eat accordingly. Dr. Christine Grant says, it's just too deep. Kimberly Hines Winsborn says, whoa. Kimberly, I can't wait to hear about that vision, girl. We're going to have to talk tomorrow. Well, we can't talk tomorrow because tomorrow's my birthday. But if you call me tomorrow and tell me happy birthday, I'll be on the road. So you can call me tomorrow and tell me happy birthday, and we can talk about that vision that you were telling me about. All right? So now, let's go to my number 3, all right? Because I'm determined to be off of here tonight. I say that every time, but tonight is different. I got to be off here tonight. So remember, my number 1 was I'm going to ignore the chatter of the naysayers. And I really want to, let me go back here because Dr. Grant gave us a acronym for chatter, and I can't get back to it on my phone, all right? But so number 1 was ignore the chatter of the naysayers. Number 2, as I go into chapter 54, I'm going to eat at the level of my vision. And number 3, as I go into chapter 54, y'all hold on right here. Y'all hold on. I have recognized that God built me and he built you to be at a certain level. All right? Now, everybody's level is different. Level is relative. It's relative to what you're called to do and relative to what God is leading you to do. That's relative. Okay. And this past year, chapter 53, all right, chapter 53, Lisa says, I love that you said it's okay to pounce on the food. Oh yeah, it's okay to pounce on whatever you need. It's okay. All right. So when I was in chapter 53, God showed me through elevation, the elevation that I was given in when I was 53 years old in terms of the new position that I have, through the women that I serve, in terms of the women that are in my coaching and my mentoring programs, just getting ready to sign some new types of corporate contracts to do coaching from a corporate perspective where companies pay me to coach their women that are in their companies. But what I learned in chapter 53 what my position was. Okay, I'm not talking about position in terms of a job position. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about where I am positioned with God. Where I'm positioned means that God has something for me to do. He's gifted me to do it. He's anointed me to do it. He's given me the educational background to do what he has called me to do. All right. And now he's put me in position to do that. All right. Now, this is where I go back to the chatter of the naysayers. Remember that one that I learned coming out of chapter 53, going into chapter 54. All right. So, but what I learned is that if I don't know my position and I begin to listen to everyone else, this is my number 3, then I will endanger my position. Now, here's what I'm not, in chapter 54, I will not endanger the position that God put me in. Let that soak in with y'all for a minute. Let that one soak in. Let me let y'all write that down. So what you need to write down is that you will not endanger the position that God has placed you in. All right? You will not endanger the position that God has placed you in. Some of you, God has given elevation this year. God has given you gifts and talents and abilities. God has given you companies that you started. God has given you ministries that you started. But you know that it's tall. You know that it's big. You know all of that. But because you've been listening to chickens, you run the risk of endangering your position. You see, one thing I'm not going to do this year in chapter 54, one thing I'm not going to do in chapter 54 is listen to chickens, because chickens don't have the perspective of where God is taking me. You see, because chickens only have the perspective of being on the ground. Chickens don't have the perspective of the position. They don't have the position nor the perspective of being high, because they've never been there. All right. So as I go into chapter 54, I will not endanger my position where God is taking me by listening to people who are lower in terms of perspective, because they can only see from their perspective. Okay? So here's another example. This is an example I heard T.D. Jakes says, and I was just, when I heard this. Okay? When I heard this. So what he talked about, what T.D. Jakes talked about, was you have a giraffe who has a 9-foot long neck, right? And then you have a turtle on the ground. So if the turtle tells the giraffe something, the turtle is giving the information based on his perspective of being close to the ground. The giraffe is going to have a different perspective, because the giraffe's neck is so high that he can see so far more, so much more, because of where they are positioned. You see, the giraffe is positioned at a much higher level. The turtle is positioned down here on the ground. So I'm not going to lose my position up high and endanger myself because I'm listening to someone who doesn't have my perspective. Now, here's the thing you need to understand about the giraffe. If the giraffe lowers his neck, okay, if he lowers his head and moves his neck down, all right, then it impairs his breathing. So if the giraffe listens and tries to look from the perspective of the turtle and tries to lower its head and look from the perspective of the turtle, then the giraffe endangers himself. Oh, y'all better catch this. Let me make sure I got battery. I do. This is my husband's phone, so I'm making sure I have some battery on there for those of you that are on the phone line. I do not want you to cut off tonight. Okay? So here's what I'm saying to you. And that is, when someone cannot see from the perspective that you are at or where you are operating, when someone can't see from the perspective where you're operating, do not endanger your position by trying to lower yourself to get down to a position where someone is talking and they can't even see where you are. Oh, you better get that one. Y'all get that one, get that one, get that one. Okay? Get that one. That's deep right there, y'all. That one is deep. Okay? Because see, when you are at a high position, and again, I'm not just talking about position on your job. It could be a high position on your job. When I was a senior vice president, my position, the position I had in my job was a very high level position. I was a chief level position, a C level position. That's what I did. All right. And the kinds of things that I saw about leadership, I would have people on my staff that would be upset with me because they couldn't understand the decision that I made. They would come in my office and tell me that I shouldn't have done what I did. What I had to help them understand is that I'm seeing things from a different perspective. Now, I would always listen to what they had to say, but what they couldn't understand is that my perspective is going to be different because of the position where I am. Your perspective is going to be different, or their perspective was different because of the position where they are. Okay, you've got people that are not in your position. That means they cannot see what you see, and they're still trying to tell you what to do. And here's the thing I don't want you to do anymore. Don't endanger where God has you by listening to people that are beneath you, because I don't mean that you're better than them. I'm not trying to say you're better than anybody else. I don't want you to get to thinking a big head, but what I'm trying to get you to see is don't endanger where you are, because there are people that are trying to talk to you who cannot see from your perspective. And whatever you do, don't lower yourself. Don't lower yourself because people are trying to get you to come down to where they are. See, one thing I learned in chapter 53 is I'm not going to bring myself down to a place where you are. If you have a problem with me, I've told people, and my husband and I were talking about this today, if someone has a problem, then you know what? They just gonna have the problem. That's their problem, not mine. Don't put your problems up on me, okay? Because I'm not gonna lower my position where God has already elevated me to. I'm not gonna lower that to come down and to fight and to argue with you. Y'all need to do that. God is bringing you guys up to higher and higher heights, but then you're allowing things that you go through, things that people say to you, things that people say about you, you're allowing it to endanger your position and bring you back down. Well, when we go into chapter 54, that is not going to happen. Because see, when God elevates you, he means for you to stay there. And when you start listening to other people and then you endanger that position because you're listening to someone way down here who has no idea or no perspective of where you are, then you endanger where you are. You endanger the position that you have now risen to. I hope y'all are getting this right here. Because I tell you what, when I realize that I'm not going to step out of position and hamper my breathing and hamper what God has given me, just because somebody down here doesn't know my perspective or is not at a higher level. And keep in mind, it could be spiritual level, it could be emotional level, it could be financial level, it could be whatever level it is. If you all are need financial help, then you need to call Kimberly Hines Winsborn. If there's some issues going on, you need to enroll in her course. You need to understand what's going on. Okay, I'm only working with women who really want to get their finances in a place where they can go into ministry and that sort of thing. I'm working with a specific group of women as I do my financial fitness. But Kimberly works with everybody. So if you and your husband don't have the money to go from 1 month to the next, there's a reason for that. You need to call her and get some. Don't bring yourself down. Don't stop dreaming about the next level in your finances because somebody down here is saying, well, you don't make enough. Well, that was chapter 53. In chapter 54, you're going to make whatever it is you need to make. Because chapter 54, when you talk about financial fitness, this is just an example. When you talk about that, you look at the wholeness of you, not just what you make. But anyway, I'm not going to get on that. Kimberly Hines Winsborn, I put that plug in for you right there, babe. All right. So now my number one was, as I go into chapter 54, I'm going to ignore the chatter of the naysayers. My number two is, as I go into chapter 54, I'm going to eat at the level of my vision. Number three, as I go into chapter 54, I'm going to understand that I am not going to endanger my position from people who don't have my perspective. Okay. And here's number four. And number four is one that, if I would have got it in chapter 53 and 52 and 51 and 50 and so on and back, I would be dangerous about now. And that is, when I go into chapter 54, I am going to let every interruption be a breakthrough. Okay? I'm going to let every interruption be a breakthrough. Let me say that one more time. As I go into chapter 54, and keep in mind, when I say interruption, here I'm meaning something that happens in my life that may make me, that may look like a distraction, or may look like something that's not a good thing. Or I may begin to wonder, Lord, why I got to go through this? But every time there's an interruption, every time I have to go through something, that is going to be a breakthrough in my life. Okay? Because yes, you're right, Dr. Grant. Usually we hate interruptions. Usually we like things to go the status quo, because interruptions tend to come in and they tend to make a change in us, or tend to make us do something differently. Well, I've learned is as I go into chapter 54, what the devil meant for evil, I already know that what the devil meant for evil, God meant for good. And so many times we always ask ourselves, I know I can't talk about you. Okay, y'all hear that the boys going out. It's almost 10 o'clock at night. It's dark. Now, where they going? Okay. But one thing that I see that so many people want to blame the enemy, and people want to give the enemy credit. Okay, but this is what I see, because the Bible tells me what the devil meant for good, but the evil that God meant for good. So if the enemy tries to bring an interruption, if the enemy tries to bring a distraction, if the enemy tries to bring something that will hamper what the vision is that God has on my life, I am going to use it as a breakthrough, and I'm going to break through to the next that God has. Oh, glory to God. I'm excited, y'all. Can't you tell? All right. So if the enemy tries to come in and interrupt whatever it is that God has me doing, whether it's mentoring people, whether it is coaching, whether it is my new programs, whether it is my new contracts, whether it is the ministry, because teachers coming back, y'all, whether it's the ministry, I don't care what it is, my family, regardless of what it is, it will become a breakthrough. Because see, I have come to understand, and this is what I've come to understand, and we're almost done. We got 5 more minutes. This is what I've come to understand in chapter 53. As I go out of chapter 53 and into chapter 54, what I have come to understand is that God does not waste anything. God doesn't waste anything. So if it's happening in my life, then just like Job, and I don't want all that stuff to happen to me that happened to Job. I just don't want that. Okay. I already believe God. I don't want that. Okay. But what I've come to understand is that if it's happening in my life, because I am a child of God, if it's happening in my life, then God has allowed it to happen. Okay. He's allowed it to happen. I need to start looking at it differently. I need to start looking at every interruption, every distraction, everything that I wouldn't want. I need to start looking at it as a breakthrough. And I need to begin to say, you know what? I see this is happening. I understand it. But let me sit back. Let me just ask the Lord, Lord, I may not understand what you're doing. I may not understand, Lord, what's happening. I may not understand, Lord, why do I have to be involved in this? But there will be a breakthrough. So I'm just going to go ahead and get the breakthrough started. Oh, y'all, how about this? You know how we always say, let's get this party started? I don't know about y'all, but back in the day when I was at NC State and we would go to the Cultural Center. For those of you that went to NC State, you know what the Cultural Center is, or what it used to be. And we would go to the Cultural Center and we have parties, and then one of the sorors would yell out, let's get this party started. My sorors, let's get this party started. Okay. And then the rest of us would say, okay, let's get this party started. And usually we would start stepping or something, and then people would, gather around, and then after that, the party would start. Okay. Now, this is what I want you. This is good right here. Okay, this right here is what I want you to say the next time you get an interruption, the next time you get a distraction, the next time you get something that is just not right in your life, or is interrupting you, or you feel like it's interrupting you from what God has called you to do. I want you to say, okay, God, I'm ready to get my breakthrough started. I'm ready to get my breakthrough started. I am ready to get my breakthrough started. Or let's get this breakthrough started, okay? Because you know that when it starts, whenever you start going through some things, then God is not going to waste anything in your life. He's not going to waste anything in your life. So whenever it begins, know it's the beginning of a breakthrough. Don't see it as an you might identify it, because if it's interrupting you with some things that you need to be doing or something like that, and you say, well, I know this is an interruption, but as soon as you identify it as an interruption, then turn it around and make it a breakthrough. As soon as you see it as a distraction, then turn it around and say, this is a part of my breakthrough. As soon as somebody begins to talk about you, then you look at you. You might not want to say nothing to them because you might want to slap them. But you look at them and you say that you don't even know it, but you're a part of my breakthrough. As soon as you ask yourself, why do I have to be going through this financial difficulty? Because it's a part of my breakthrough. As soon as there may be something that goes on in your body or something like that, then why you may ask God, why does this happen to me? What you do is you say, my breakthrough is starting. Let's get this breakthrough started. Okay, because I am determined that in chapter 54, I'm not going to spend time thinking about foolishness. I'm not going to spend time with people who want to be foolish. So if you want to be foolish, then I'm the wrong person for you to be around, because I'm not going to spend my time with foolishness. Why? Because I'm going to identify your foolishness as a breakthrough. Okay, if you want to have me involved in it, and you want to act foolish, that's fine, but that's a breakthrough. Okay, so many times we don't want to identify. All right, that what we're going through is a breakthrough. Don't wait for the breakthrough to start. Invite the breakthrough in. That's a good one right there. Y'all write that down. Don't wait for the breakthrough to start. Some people will say, oh, I'm waiting on my breakthrough. Oh, I'm waiting on my breakthrough. They'll be running around the church. I'm waiting on my breakthrough. They'll start shouting. I'm waiting. Ooh, I started shouting. The firecracker started going off. They start shouting. And I'm sorry, my phone rang. They'll say, I'm waiting on my breakthrough. All right? But let me tell you. Okay? Stop waiting on your breakthrough and say, let's get this breakthrough started. So whatever you're even if you're going through something right now, if you're experiencing something right now, if you're going through it right now, just say, Lord, I'm ready to get my breakthrough started. Because you know God is going to give you a breakthrough. So if you know God is going to give you a breakthrough, let's say, if I tell Lord, I'm ready for my breakthrough. Let's get this breakthrough started. And stop allowing the devil to, and I'm going to call him as he is. People want to call him the enemy, and that's great. People want to call him the enemy. That's fine. You call him what you want. But I'm calling him what the Bible called him. The Bible called him the devil. The Bible called him evil. The Bible called him what he is. Okay? The Bible called him exactly what it is. And some of you have some evil stuff going on up in your life. Some of you got some evil people. Some of you are in evil situations. And you're in those situations because that's where the devil wants you, so he can interrupt what it is that God had for you to do. Some of you had ministry, had new careers, you had businesses that you were supposed to start, and you didn't do it, and you blamed it on the enemy. And you know what I want you to start doing now is stop blaming it on the enemy and look at it and say, you know what, I'm getting ready to get this breakthrough started. Because when I got my breakthrough, I was a whole new person. I was an entire new person. And you know what happened when I got a breakthrough? I began to see differently. Let me check the battery on this right here. Okay, I'm good. I began to see differently. Because see, once I got a breakthrough, once I just began to see what God, I'm not going to say I saw what God was doing. I saw what was happening in me. I saw how I was elevating. Okay, how God was elevating me. And then with that, I began to see what people were I began to see things like manipulation. I began to see what people were doing. Okay, so I love what Wanda Abrams Bussey, she says, I'm getting ready to get this breakthrough started. Yes, y'all, it is time out for the devil to be having the kinds of impact that he has on our life. As soon as you get the news, say to yourself, I'm getting ready to get this breakthrough started. As soon as, I'm not saying wait a few days. I'm saying as soon as it happens, because that's why the Bible tells us that in everything, give him praise. In everything. You can't wait. I know, we're human. I know that I'm human. I'm sure if somebody called me and something happened, I'm sure that it would take me a minute, but I'm still going to have to come back and know who I am. I'm still going to have to get this breakthrough started. I'm still going to have to go and say, you know what? I hear what's going on. I feel it. My heart is broken, but I've still got to get this breakthrough started. Y'all, as you go into your next chapter, whether it's your life, your ministry, your calling, your career, your business, whatever it is, all right, go in there not doing the same things you did in the last chapter of your life, or take what you learned in the last chapter of your life. And I want you to write them down. See, I've got my 4 written. If you can see it, I've got my 4 written right here, and I've got my notes on this. I take notes kind of funny. All right, so I've got my 4 written over here, and I've got my other notes written for it on the other side. All right. So Deborah Divine Vogt says, mortgage company only gave me $98,000 to a $115,000 to buy a home. I'm waiting on God to break out a home higher price for the amount mortgage company gave. Breakthrough. That's right. Don't look at the fact that you needed 115, but you only got 98. Don't be sad about that. Go begin to look for it. That is your breakthrough. And keep in mind, because that's a breakthrough in itself, because you got to look at it this way. Owing $98,000 on a mortgage is a whole lot different than owing $115,000. And I bet, I'm not a betting woman, but if you go out and look, I bet you can find a bigger house in a better neighborhood for the $98,000. But you got to see it as a breakthrough. You got to see it as a breakthrough and not something that you just didn't get. Oh, come on now. That's a good one, Deborah. That's a good one. That is a good one. See that and getting the 98 as a breakthrough, that you didn't get the 115, and then go out there and you look for the 98, and it'll be bigger and better. Okay? I love it. The people on Facebook are saying, I'm more prepared for new breakthroughs. That's right. Get ready for them. All right? You're more prepared for new breakthroughs. And see a breakthrough every single day. See a breakthrough every single day. Do it differently. Do it differently. Okay? So now, as I close on tonight, I thank y'all so much. So remember, as I go into the next chapter of my life, which starts in just a few hours, chapter 54, I'm going to ignore the chatter of the naysayers. I'm going to eat at the level of my vision. I am going to make sure I do not endanger my position by coming down to another person's perspective who can't see the way I see. And I'm going to let every interruption be a breakthrough. Every interruption be a breakthrough. I hope y'all have enjoyed this as we go into chapter 54, as we go into just the new things that are happening with the Vision Building Institute. I want you all to know a couple of things as we go in there. The inner circle is getting ready to open up. All right, the new inner circle is getting ready to open up. So those of you that are interested in that, make sure you watch it, because I only give that out here in the Vision Building Women Facebook group. For those of you that are interested in beginning your vision and beginning to look at your vision and to execute your vision, Vision Quick Start is about to open again, and we're getting ready to go into Vision Quick Start. And here's something that is brand new that I'm really, really excited about. For those of you who are in ministry and want to become coaches, I am opening up a new certification program for Christian women in leadership who want to become coaches. Now, most of you, and I really, really, really want to work with women in ministry leadership who want to become coaches. It's a brand new program, opening that up, and that'll be opening up in August 1st. So if you're interested in that, Stay tuned. Make sure that you begin to look at that. You'll see some things coming out about that very soon. And we're just excited about where God is taking us here in the Vision Building Institute. You all have been wonderful tonight. I thank you. I just got a call from my mom. Just left me a voicemail, because we're headed, getting ready to go down her way tomorrow. And of course, I'm going to stop in, see her, and stop in and see her and spend some time down there. So I hope you all have a wonderful week. As you go into your next chapter, I want to make sure that you write down, what are those things that are going to guide you? What are those strategies that are going to guide you as you go into your next chapter? All right. Take everything you learned and take it into the next chapter. Now, y'all have a wonderful evening. Have a great holiday, 4th of July holiday. And don't eat too much, because I'm going to be in Rockingham and I'm going to be eating a lot. Okay. We have a huge 4th of July cookout. My cousins, Tootie and Coopsie and Paulette and my aunties, we're all down there. My mom, my dad, we're all there. And we just have a huge family cookout, and I'm excited about that. So we will talk soon, and I'll see you later. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.